Hi, everyone. My name is Drew Sharkey. I am an admissions advisor here at Idaho State University. Today, we have an awesome guest, Ms. Deborah Green, the Director of Scholarships. And today, we're going to talk about how the scholarship system and how to save money for college. So, thank you so much for having us, for coming here.
You bet. Hi, Drew. All right. So, just like Drew said, I'm going to be talking about scholarships at ISU. Um, this PowerPoint is just so that you can refer back to this and look back at this video anytime if you have questions or want some reminders about dates or deadlines or different things. So, I'll kind of go through this pretty quickly, but just keep in mind that you can come back and look at this. So, our website has got extremely valuable information on it. Our website link is right there. And there's step-by-step guides on what we suggest you do before you start at Idaho State University as a Bengal. So get admitted, complete the FAFSA, complete the honors application if you're eligible and you're interested in the honors program. Apply for additional scholarships we refer to as the Bengal Online Scholarship System. Apply for State Board of Education scholarships if you're an Idaho resident, outside scholarships, and I'll also talk about the hold request and deferment process. So those with the stars right here, I'm really going to be talking about in this PowerPoint, but those are just some other things that you might want to keep in mind as well. So get admitted to ISU. So you need to be completely admitted as a first-time incoming Idaho resident, non-resident, or transfer student by our deadlines. It's February 15th normally for fall entry. For students that are starting fall 2021, we extended that deadline to, otherwise it's always been February 15th. It's November 1st for students that are starting in a spring semester. So our awarding indexes are different based on the category. So again, visit our website, and if you're an Idaho resident, new incoming first-time student, a non-resident, new incoming first-time non-resident, or a transfer resident or non-resident, if you go to our website and click on the appropriate category, you're going to see the awarding index that's associated with you just being admitted to ISU. You're automatically considered for those scholarships once you're admitted. So super important that you meet those deadlines. When you receive an offer from Idaho State University, like I mentioned, and you're admitted by our deadlines, you'll receive your offer in a something to worry about envelope that looks just like this. So be watching for that in the mail. Super important that you read the offer letter and you sign and return the acceptance form that's going to have valuable information about your scholarship. Second thing, number one, get admitted, just like I mentioned, by the deadline for automatic scholarship consideration for those awards. Number two, you can apply for additional scholarships through our Bengal Online Scholarship System that we refer to as BOSS. So starting in January, if you're starting a fall semester, you want to complete the general application when you log into BOSS. Again, same website, click on the BOSS link right at the top, and you'll complete a general application once every year. Go to the opportunities tab. I will show you a screenshot of this, and then go to recommended. So based off your class level, your major, your residency, your high school GPA, or your transfer GPA, depending on your situation, it's going to recommend scholarships to you. We don't know everything about every student, but we're trying to help you out. So again, these are additional scholarships that you can apply for in our Bengal Online Scholarship System. We award over 10 million a year, so it's super important that you tap in and look at these scholarships. We recommend you go to the recommended scholarship tab all the time. And in addition, there's some departmental and college applications that'll open up for students depending on your major, and you'll want to complete those. They'll automatically appear for you if you're eligible for them. We also have a link on BOSS called the External, and that's where you can look at outside, local, and national scholarships that we have posted. We don't list everything because there's so much, but it's just another way for you to see some additional scholarship opportunities. Be super active. Again, if you're starting in the fall, you need to start looking in BOSS starting in January. We tell students January, February, March to be super active in the system. And if you're starting in the spring, start looking in October. We tell students to be in BOSS and check that monthly. In addition, it's super important that you check your email. If you receive offers, we'll send you a scholarship offer from BOSS. We'll send you an email. letting you know, hey, you've got a scholarship, you need to log in, accept your scholarship, and possibly do a thank you letter. We also alert you if there's new opportunities that open up that you may be eligible for. Again, we don't know everything about every student. We know quite a few basics, and we're trying to help you out with applying for additional scholarships. This is what it looks like when you go into BOSS. Username and password is the same that you use to get into BangoWeb. You'll receive this information once you're admitted to ISU. So your username and password, again, is exactly the same as you're going to use for everything else at the university. Then you hit sign in. Once you complete that general application, like I mentioned, you're going to want to go to that opportunities tab, click on recommended. As long as your major is correct, it's going to pull information in and recommend scholarships for you to apply on. All you do is hit the little orange apply button like you can see below and apply for those scholarships. Any that you're eligible for, I highly, highly recommend that you click the apply button and apply for them by the deadline. The external section is also listed there, which I mentioned, that has some outside and local scholarships that we list. The hours section that's listed under the opportunities tabs lets you see all the scholarships that we have open. So in other words, if you're showing up as a political science major, but you're planning to change to an accounting major, you want to get that done soon. But that allows you to see what other scholarships are listed out there for accounting majors. Again, make sure your major is up to date as soon as you know what that is going to be. And number 3, so number 1, get admitted. ISU by our deadlines, you're automatically considered for recruitment scholarships. Number 2, apply in our Bengal online scholarship system like we just talked about. And number 3 is our outside scholarship. So if you are an Idaho resident, I strongly encourage you to apply for the State Board of Education scholarships. The Opportunity Scholarship is one of those. Deadline is usually March 1st of every year. It's based off of merit and need. So if you're an Idaho resident, again, make sure you look at that website and apply for those scholarships. Go to the external section in BOSS, like I mentioned, and apply for some scholarships there. Check with your parents' place of work, your place of work, credit unions. There's just so many scholarship opportunities out there from outside agencies as well. And anytime it comes to outside scholarships, watch for scams. They're out there. Don't pay to apply for scholarships, and don't ever provide your social security number. So there's many students that want to defer their scholarship or defer their admission, basically. So if you want to complete your admission application, but you're not planning to attend for a couple years due to mission or military reasons, you can do a deferment form that holds your admission to a later date. When you return, we're going to give you that award based on the awarding index. When you return, we're going to give you a 4-year, 2-year, whatever the case may be, scholarship at that time that you return. I recommend that you do not apply for scholarships in BOSS until the semester before you plan to return, because those are donor-based and the funding changes every year. We won't hold those. The hold process, we have a lot of students that ask about this. So if you're a student that gets a scholarship from us and that's a renewable scholarship and you attend for a semester or more, as long as you're meeting the requirements and you're leaving for mission, military, or medical reasons, you can hold your scholarship. Again, have to be meeting requirements, we'll hold your scholarship. The form is listed right there. You go to our website, click on holds and deferments, and then continuing students, and the form will appear for you to complete. My contact information is here. I kind of went through that pretty quickly. Please reach out to us if you guys ever have questions, need help. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure you meet deadlines and apply for all the scholarships that you're eligible for. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Drew.
Thank you so much. And yeah, that was a lot of information really quickly, the master. So definitely, if you're watching this, please rewind, pause, take down notes, do all that you can to take advantage of all of our opportunities. And not only that, but reach out to your admissions advisor. We work really closely with the scholarship office. We've gotten pretty good at knowing all the ins and outs, but by no means experts. So when in doubt, definitely give the scholarship office a call. Can definitely get you underway. And I know that in my position, I get a lot of questions about scholarships, which is a good thing because it's free money. So hopefully everyone's interested. But is there like a limit of scholarships you can apply for and receive at ISU?
So I wouldn't say there's necessarily a limit, but that's a great question, Drew. So every student has what's called a cost of attendance. It's pretty high. It incorporates many things at the university: tuition, cost of living, books, all those kinds of things. Students can't go over their cost of attendance. So in other words, if they have scholarships and loans, so maybe they have got some subsidized, some unsubsidized loans, some scholarships, and they go over their cost of attendance. We will reduce loans first, so they come within the cost of attendance. So you get, like Drew said, the free money first, the scholarship money first. But we don't have a lot of students that do that because the cost of attendance is very high. But we do have to sometimes reduce the loans, which is what we want to do for students, so that you can apply for as many scholarships as you can. We will reduce, or if we have to remove scholarships so you don't go over the cost of attendance, we will do that. Usually ends up that we reduce some loans so you have room for scholarships.
Awesome. And I know another, especially now that some people have actually received some scholarships, is how to actually accept those. How do they do that?
So those 4-year or 2-year, depending on if you're a transfer student or some have received a 1-year scholarship, you will receive in that gray something to worry about envelope. If you receive that with your offer, there is an acceptance form in there. You have to sign that because there's criteria that have to be met in order for you to continue to receive that scholarship. So you need to sign that. There's you can fax it back to us. You can email it back to us. There's an indication of a drop box that you can put it in so that we can receive that, or you can mail it back to us, whatever is easiest, or bring it back our office. So whatever is easiest for you, but we do need that acceptance form back in the mail.
Perfect. And I know for some people that are stressing that, like, I can't fax, I don't even know what a fax machine is anymore. Talk to your high school counselor. They are awesome and they work really closely with the universities, and they'll definitely be able to help you get some scholarship information back to ISU. And we run into this every year. I want to be on an athletic scholarship. So, and I guess what is your advice for that?
So if you're wanting to be a student athlete, I'm sure we have a lot that walk on to different football, all of them, volleyball, softball. I would highly recommend that you reach out to the coach and talk to the coach at Idaho State University. They can talk to you about what that entails. We've had students that walk on and then get scholarships later. Many that are student athletes and receive scholarship aid through the athletic program, and they work with our office to do that. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, reach out to the coach.
Yes, definitely reach out to the coach because they ultimately have the say. Um, well, that is kind of all the big stressors and questions that I had. Do you have any last bit of advice?
So I would say I always tell students some advice is, if you're prioritizing things, as I mentioned, there's millions of dollars out there, and it's kind of like, okay, what do I do? How do I do this? At Idaho State University, we tried to create a very simple process: get admitted to ISU, go to Boston, apply for additional scholarships. Third thing is look for external or outside scholarships. So do those 3 things. I always tell students first priority is focus on ISU and the scholarships at ISU first. So meet the deadline, like I mentioned, apply for scholarships in BOSS. Second priority would be to look at the State Board of Education and local scholarships. And third priority would be look at the national ones, because that applicant pool is much bigger. We get students receive scholarships from national organizations, but the applicant pool is just a lot bigger. So when you're thinking about it on a time perspective, that's kind of what I would do. In addition, when it comes to scholarships in BOSS, some of them that you have to apply to, the donors are extremely generous. They're giving these scholarships and they have specific criteria they want to have met. And so sometimes there's an essay that's required. I cannot stress enough how important it is to write, for instance, one good essay, have it proofread, and use it often. You can often use it for multiple scholarships, but make sure you have one good essay, because that's really telling the committee more about who you are. And I guess finally just meeting the deadlines. You know, it's disheartening when I hear of a student that doesn't meet the deadlines, but those are automatic scholarships that I mentioned. Get admitted to ISU. That's literally all you need to do by the deadline in order to be considered for those recruitment scholarships. So I cannot stress that enough. So I think those are kind of my advice and tips.
Awesome. Yes, please, please, please meet our deadlines. Fall 20, holy cow, 2020, you've been extended, or 2021 has been extended, so you have a while, but anyone past that, please make sure, double check with your admissions advisor, like we said. But thank you so much. That was a lot of information, so students definitely don't be shy, but I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Debbie.
You bet, Drew. Thanks, you guys, and call out or email us if you ever have questions. We're happy to help too.
All right, see you
Thanks,
guys.
Drew.
Bye.
Bye.